You sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's JD and the Rod, America's best soccer show, and we are live and fired up and watching actual soccer happen right in front of our eyes right now. I'm here with my boy Jared Dubois, as always. Jared,
I don't know if you heard, Jason.
yes. What
MLS is back.
Oh, I heard something about that. I haven't really I haven't really followed along enough to know exactly what that means, what we're going to get out of this. Obviously, MLS decided to play games in Orlando, and there's a game happening right now. We can't.
It feels good. I'm not gonna lie. It feels good. It felt good. It feels good to be on the Twitter machine on my couch as I'm watching guys with American names like playing around with the round ball. Yeah, and there's some other guys that I had to look up because I didn't know who they were.
Taking your shots and saying things about mustaches and throwing out the good old Jade.
Oh, come on, dude.
Yeah,
Morgan for Miami, dude. That's a kind of mustache where you have a van.
it's a questionable yes. Maybe a van is involved. Maybe
Candy.
you wear a men's members only jacket. It's a little bit too tight.
You know, too tight.
Doesn't quite fit. Maybe
a mustard colored button up underneath
a button up shirt that's buttoned all the way to the top, but not in the cool way that's kind of in right now.
No, very Dwight Schrute.
Yes, exactly. I'm not sure if glasses need to be involved or not, but usually
but the mustache is
a mustache, maybe a bit of a comb over. Maybe part of it is a comb over. I may have something to say about people holding on to their hair as much as they can at this point. When we get to Christian Pulisic a little bit later on, not him necessarily.
Oh, geez,
somebody
calling him the new Landon Donovan. Is that what you're saying?
No. Somebody in his orbit, not Christian himself.
Oh, okay.
Christian is on fire. Christian's looking great right now.
Dude, the Wonderboy is killing it right now.
He is absolutely doing a fantastic job there. We're definitely gonna have to spend some time with Christian Pulisic today on this program. Jared, I was thinking when we got going here that this is sort of like how you might have a couple of bottles of your favorite after dinner drink, something that a nightcap, something you enjoy, right? Maybe it's something you sip on, right?
My bottle of Johnny Walker Black that I finished last night.
Sure. Maybe you have a bottle of that, but maybe you also have a bottle of something that's not quite as good, but you can't crack the good one until you finish off that slightly lesser bottle of alcohol. You know what I'm saying? Of drink, of aperitif, whatever it is that you're imbibing.
I see what you're saying. So are you saying that this game is that?
No, I think we are living that right now. You and me, we are living the last couple of swallows of the pre-good stuff. We're not quite to the good stuff yet, and maybe this game is that too. Maybe MLS is back.
It's kind of impossible to be the good stuff when you're watching players that haven't played in 4 months. But on a field where the camera doesn't even catch the whole field, there's interesting things going on.
There's a lot of things going on here. First of all, if you want to talk about the TV setup and the fact that Adidas is smack in the middle of the field. Now, it's not painted on because that would be illegal. It is overlaid via their
Mexican televisions are doing this for years.
Well, yeah, but I don't think they do it during the game, do they?
Yeah, usually, you're right. Usually, it's like when the ball's out of bounds or something like that. They'll play the scores on either side of the field, that kind of thing. A lot of other leagues have been doing it on the sidelines. And what's interesting though is the wall of sponsors that is behind the field, the literal wall of sponsors that is impossible to miss. Somehow the sponsors are never out of the screen, but the bottom of the field for some reason we can't get. It's what's interesting. Have you seen a shot of it when it's not the main camera?
I just watched Orlando score an equalizer. Chris Mueller scored an equalizer. Now, we had put Nikki Soup and Sausage, who is producing the show, busy working on the show right now. We had put him on update duty. So if something goes down in Orlando, Nikki Soup and Sausage is supposed to jump in and tell us, Nick, you've already missed your first call here. You've already missed your first opportunity
Too
Where you
busy
been?
trying to produce for you, trying to get a tweet out, letting the folks know, letting the besties know we're live to get in touch on the
Letting
line
Jason
tonight.
know he's out of frame.
The biggest thing, the biggest problem in Nick's life most of the time is me moving slightly out of frame as we do the show. Yeah, but okay, so Nick will be there. He'll be
I'm on it.
manning the ticker, so to speak.
Well, I'm glad because my worst fear was that it was going to be 0-0. You know, I really didn't want the first game out with all the hype and everything like that to be a 0-0 game on ESPN proper. By the way, not all the games are going to be on ESPN. There's going to be a combination of different ESPN platforms, correct?
I need to go back and look at the schedule. I think most of them are on ESPN itself, but there are a couple that will make it to ESPN too. So,
Well, I mean, speaking.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You were saying that you saw a camera angle of the wall of sponsors when it was not on the actual.
It's just a blue screen instead of green screen. It's
green.
just a blue screen that they're
So
using.
even those sponsorships are projected.
Yeah, apparently the Orlando Airport Authority gets a lot of ad space for some reason. I mean, I guess they're hooking up everybody with I don't know, landing strips for their charter flights. I don't know what's going on there, but there's a lot of advertising. Clearly,
I didn't know manscaping was part of this.
I will tell you that that Dom Dwyer. Now everybody else is rusty. Not everybody's completely fit, Jared. Obviously, they're trying to get back into this swing after months and months away. I heard Taylor Twellman say 122 days since the last game, about 60 times before this game kicked off tonight. Dom Dwyer is in 100% midseason form. And when I say that, what I mean is that Dom Dwyer is always trying to kill somebody. And also, Dom Dwyer always deserves a yellow. Like,
come on, he's not always trying to kill somebody. But listen, the guy. Let's say the guy has never been shy of leaving something in a tackle.
No,
okay, but
no.
In a way that I enjoy. As a defender, it's odd that I love an offensive player that does.
You love a dirty striker. You love the guy who's giving you a rib, elbow you.
I can respect the game. I can respect the game because.
You just like that dirty Clay Koyman style of soccer. You're just
it's like when I was a hockey fan, Marty McSorley was my guy. This is pre almost killed a guy, McSorley. This is when he was on the Kings.
Are you if you tell me that you love Chuck Cecil, we're gonna have a problem on this show.
I love Gattuso.
Yeah, I guess
there's a lot of guys like that. I enjoy someone whose goal is to be the anti-hero in the game, the person that's to take it back to the 70s.
Now, the other part of Dom Dwyer, though, you have to give, and you can do this for Adolfo Pizarro, who came on as a second half substitute for Inter Miami. The haircut, the choice of hairstyle. Dom Dwyer with the frosted tips. I don't know, man.
Whose tips are worse between Pizarro and Dwyer?
Well, at least Pizarro is hewing towards his team's colors, right? He's choosing to be fashion
on brand,
the Miami aesthetic, right? Like, I don't know that it's necessarily the best look. But
so this is when Rodman got a big bowl in the back of his head.
Something like that, yeah. Like,
okay. So Dwyer's off brand is what you're saying. He should have purple highlights.
Well, no, but it's Dwyer's brand. It's just not. It doesn't fit the team, and therefore, I don't know. I mean, like I'd love to hear what people have to think of, or have to say about Dom Dwyer's hairstyle and his elbows, straight elbows in this game. We just watched Andres Reyes get taken off on a stretcher, and you're sitting here extolling the virtues of the dirty striker. I don't quite understand what's happening.
That was happenstance.
Do you think
I actually think so that time. There's plenty of times I'll tell you I don't think Dom Dwyer's doing it for via happenstance. I think it's symptomatic of his game. Any defender going into a Dom Dwyer, you're going to be in a physical matchup. I think that time his arm got away from him a bit. I didn't think he meant to catch him. What we think is in the throat, and he's having some kind of breathing issue from what we're hearing on the telecast. Yeah. But I don't begrudge him that. It's not even a card in my mind, and it wasn't on the field, I don't believe, if I remember correctly.
I think he's probably due a card at this point for cumulative effect of his play.
But usually you love a guy like that on your team. I mean, you would appreciate if he scored once in a while.
I would like him to score some goals if I'm the guy paying Dom Dwyer. And I've had a couple of people from Orlando say, enough with this. We're not in the USL anymore. He's not worth the money. And I'm not saying it. Orlando fans are saying it. And speaking of Orlando fans, I want to shout out our friend Freddie, who's a Patreon member.
You can't say his name? What are you doing? He's undercover there.
I'm not talking about him being. My God, you blew up his spot. I didn't blow up.
My bad.
I was just going to put him on naming the rivalry game because there's currently a debate going on over what this game should be called. It was Freddie in our Slack who threw out El Tropico, and I'm loving El Tropico. I think that's the name we have to go with.
That's pretty good. But as a rivalry game, Did you feel it in this game? I don't feel it.
Well, it's the first one, and it's not happening in front of fans.
The only person that's playing like a rivalry game is Don Dwyer.
Well, he certainly plays like that all the time, though. The other thing that I think we absolutely have to mention, if we're talking about this game, is what happened before the game. What happened in the pre-match ceremony? Obviously, we knew there was going to be no anthems at MLS's back in Orlando. That was a decision that the league made. We figured.
Didn't miss it.
No, not at all. I think we figured that there was going to be some sort of demonstration or a ceremony, something, an exhibition on the part of the league for Black Lives Matter. And sure enough, we get what I think every black player in the league was on the field. I think that was kind of the point, is every team was represented out there.
Yeah, I believe they said so. And ringed the field, arm up in the air, silent for almost 9 minutes.
8 minutes and 46 seconds, by the way, which is the amount of time that George Floyd had a knee on his neck. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously poignant. Obviously something that I commend both ESPN, the league, and the Black Players Coalition that put it all together. That's a lot to ask a network to do.
Yeah,
to have 9 minutes of silence out there. But I commend them. I'm not sure what the pregame ritual is going to be going forward. It may go kind of more simplistic, similar to the Premier League, which they did right at the whistle as well, the moment of silence. But I'm happy to see that the league step up and actually do something. I do feel bad for those players. 9 minutes with your arm in the air. That was a tough ask. That's a tough ask.
You better have some. You better been working out.
I've seen him do that challenge on Survivor to decide who gets immunity. Like that's pretty tough.
Yeah, I get tired like screwing something into the ceiling. Like my arm gets tired just after like a couple of seconds of like lifting up a light bulb.
Big shock. You and I aren't elite athletes.
No, we're not.
Despite you wearing a Forward Madison jersey that I do approve of.
You do. I was confused.
I do like that one.
Okay, so but you don't like the other one, the drip kit that just came out this year, but you do like this one.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I feel like this one has more of an architectural feel versus a more abstract feel of the other one.
I see. Okay.
I've never been one for modern art.
I'm not quite sure I understand where the line is on what's good or bad for Jay Rodius, but yeah, this is dope. I appreciate the
format. So for best, if you're gonna send me a jersey, even though I really crapped all over your other one, send me this one.
Yeah, I was thinking about it today. I was like, I wonder what he's gonna say about this shirt. And then also, is he going to be nice enough that we could actually maybe get him one? Because he did crap all over the other kid.
Now, I'm surprised you haven't figured out a way for LAFC to send me a gift pack and put me on the spot.
That's actually a very good troll that I should have thought of myself. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be some friend in the family's Christmas gift.
Yeah, you would re-gift that right away?
Oh, re-gifting that with a quickness.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we have to come up with something throughout the further evolution of the show.
So we know the game's still going on, but if we have anyone that's tuned into the show while you're watching the game, you want to get in with your thoughts about the first game of the season, 717-727-BEST. Feel free to give us a call and let us know what your thoughts are as you're watching this first game.
All right, let's do it right now. Let's not even waste any time. It's the gentleman that's responsible for this lovely bit of audio.
Michael freaking Oscar Fiscal.
Mike and Philly, you're on the air. What's up?
Hey guys, just wanted to get your take on the presentation overall so far. I'm pretty relieved it doesn't. I mean, it definitely feels like different and its own thing, but I'm relieved it doesn't really feel like a preseason tournament. It does feel like an authentic competition, at least from my standpoint. I know I got blinders on. Well, I'm very happy to have them all back, and I'm really excited for tomorrow morning, particularly.
Yeah.
Just your take on what ESPN's been doing so far.
So 9 a.m. for Philly tomorrow. That's what he's talking about with that against NYCFC. I'll say this, Jared, that this is the full force of what ESPN can offer in an obviously weird setting. So when we see preseason games, we get like 2 camera angles and the quality of the camera is terrible, and it's some kid out of college doing the play-by-play. This is clearly different, right? This is extra level. John Champion and Taylor Twellman, even if they're back in Bristol, are calling the game. The cameras are all over the place. Whatever you think about the ads, there is a sheen of professionalism here for that.
There's a sheen of professionalism, but also a like I say, a callback to NASCAR. I can't help but think of that as I watch the presentation. But the camera angle, the amount of camera angles, I think, is high quality production. The one they're choosing for the The dedicated cam of the field, I think, leaves a lot to be desired. The fact that they have to cut away to the sideline every time the ball goes to the near sideline, I think it's just really jarring to have that every time the ball goes to that near sideline.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of other good things that they're throwing behind.
It's not giving you White Hart Lane vibes, like old school White Hart Lane vibes?
I said Spartan Stadium. I'm more of an American than that.
You
so
are.
I draw on American things.
You are so damn American. I always forget that's right. You can go
There's
back.
a bunch of new MLS fans that don't even realize that San Jose used to play in Spartan Stadium in my inside joke.
Yeah, nobody was like, Spartan Stadium. What stadium?
Spartan Stadium, you got to be careful. Spartan Stadium. I'm surprised no one ever like lost some kind of body part there. The wall was so close to the touch line there. I can't believe no one ever just ran into it.
Well, that was a small field. This isn't a small field.
Yeah,
it just
that was huge.
That they have a second field behind them that's going to be used. They can't put they can't put the equipment on the grass to lift the crane, to have the crane farther back away from this field so that we can get a better shot. I think that's what it is. And I'm not a television producer, but it sounds like it's crazy. Mike, what else you got? What other observations so far from COVID Cup or MLS is back or whatever we're calling this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how I feel about the decision to not go for crowd noise. Like, I don't know that I miss the crowd noise, but at the same time, it does make the atmosphere feel very different. I almost was hoping they would have been, more voices from the players and people on the field and whatnot.
Ratchet up the microphones on the field. You're looking for that. How about again? I'm still maintaining that our laugh track might be a good move. Just every now and then, throw in a laugh here or there. There's plenty of bad touches in this game so far to use it, Jared.
My favorite thing that deserves a laugh track in this, if you go to the MLS website and you go to the game tracker and you look at the list of subs, it has the name, number, jersey number, and position for every player. Brek Shea is the only player that doesn't have a position because even MLS as a league doesn't know.
They don't know what to do with him. What's his hair situation right now? Do we know?
I haven't seen him. I haven't seen a shot of it, man. I hope he didn't cut those locks.
Yeah, I don't know. We've been trying to talk about like who's going to win this thing. And last week on the show, Jared, we made our picks. Now I don't remember if any of us picked Dallas to come out of the group, but now Dallas is gone, and per the commissioner at halftime, they're going to be talking and making a decision overnight about Nashville, who has 9 positive tests.
What I'm wondering is that if 10 was the number and that's why Dallas qualified and Nashville hasn't hit 10 yet, I don't know. It seems like what else would be the reason other than the fact that you just think that, oh man, if we send them home too. But listen, you get even pools if you do it soon. Only one team has played. Well, if you catch before the games tomorrow, you can still move the pools around.
Well, you can do that. These two teams are in Group A, and then Dallas was in Group B. I think the problem is that, first of all, you would have to redraw and therefore rework your entire schedule. And ESPN is already pimping out their schedule that they've got going. And I know this is arbitrary on some level, but they decided to separate the Eastern and the Western Conference teams in the group stage. And you would have the group that Dallas leaves is a Western Conference group, and the group with more teams than anybody else is an Eastern Conference group. What do you do about that, Jared? What do you do? I don't know.
Well, if you pull Nashville, it all becomes simple. All of a sudden, you can make even groups. And if you ditch a 8 a.m. game, is ESPN really in a bad way, or reconfigure an 8 a.m. game?
I mean, I think what everybody is seeing from the number of ads that are in this game, and I get it, I do. I get the business reasons for it, but what everybody is pulling out of this is all about the money. They only care about the money, and therefore we shouldn't believe that anything is going to get changed because it's all about what ESPN or Fox or Univision want, because that's what ESPN or what MLS cares about right now, because otherwise they're going to continue to hemorrhage money.
On one hand, it's really gaudy to see all the brand imagery on the screen when you're used to a very simplistic soccer presentation
like
most
Donald
of the world
Trump's
around.
apartment, right? It's exactly what it is.
Gold toilets everywhere.
Gold toilets. That's what this is.
But on the other hand, the long-term soccer fan in me is kind of stoked at the potential alignment MLS is being aligned with a lot of really big brands, some of which they haven't done business with before, that they could potentially get long-term investment out of.
This
Associations.
MLS is an up-and-coming Instagram influencer right now.
Perhaps one of the people on the wall of the stadium would like to be on the Miami jersey.
I'm learning about companies. You're right. The Miami jersey is a blank canvas. I'm learning about companies. There are some names on that board I'd never seen before. I like, what is that? I don't know what that is. Maybe I should Google it.
What's a Pizza Hut?
Yeah, you were making a comment. Well, that's the thing. The other thing that's interesting is that if this was 2006, it would be Pizza Hut. It would be Sierra Mist. It would be
Pizza Hut is on that board.
Oh, are they? I didn't see them.
Yeah,
I actually didn't see that. I thought it
they're
was
on the far left when you're
Papa
looking.
John's is on there too.
Oh, Papa John's is on there.
They have competing pizza companies?
Yep.
We've hit the big time. We did it, y'all. We did it.
Doubling up on that pizza dollar. That's exactly. That's actually. Where's Domino's?
That's crazy. You would never see Coke and Pepsi sponsoring the same event.
Double dipping. Okay, I see Publix now. I see Cheez-It. I see Target. Target I get. I was going to say there's some classy brands on there. And if this was 20 years ago, what Major League Soccer would get is like, fruit by the foot and Gushers fruit snacks. And, I don't know. Like, give me some like Jordache. Sunny D. That's a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
The purple stuff.
Yeah. Totino's pizza rolls, stuff like that.
That should be Orlando's jersey sponsor. Purple stuff.
What Inter Miami not having one is kind of wild.
But you know what? I think the jersey actually looks kind of fly blank.
Well, it's blank, but it's also see-through because it's white and they're sweating through it.
Those are handsome men bodies underneath there.
Oh, you're okay.
I mean, as long as if you could put a bag over Morgan's head, we'd be fine.
This is my thought. My thought is that they came up with a shirt, and obviously they haven't sold their frontage yet. And they came up with a shirt and they said, "Hey, David, will you model this for us?" Or David said, "Hey, let me try this on." They all went, "You look amazing. David Beckham looks spectacular in this shirt." And they go, "Yes, let's make this shirt." They put it on all these other guys who again are top, top athletes. Great.
And here's that's the crazy thing. You don't have a jersey sponsor and David Beckham's going to wear the shirt. What company wouldn't want to have David Beckham wearing their shirt?
Exactly. I mean, I know he's an owner. Do owners run around? Have we ever seen what owners have in Major League Soccer have rocked? Did Uncle Arthur rock the King Peach when that came out? Was he out there running?
Hanauer has.
Hannah, yeah, okay, all right.
He definitely has. He's been fully decked. I know that.
Merritt Paulson's probably.
He's at least scarf, if not something else. All the time.
I mean, it's an age thing, right? Like once you crest a certain age, you can't really rock the jersey anymore.
I think it's probably hard for Bob. I mean, for Kraft to find a New England Revolution jersey that is acceptable at spas.
That
you gotta have.
You take everything off, so he has to hang it up. And,
okay. You get a yellow card for that in soccer.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, but there's also a fit issue at that point. When parts of your body.
Are you saying that a billionaire in the 70s isn't fit?
I'm saying that when you're in your 70s, your body has moved in different places,
and that Kraft's going to come down there for a game. He likes going to Florida. If you haven't heard,
you can't double up on those. No,
ain't nothing but a short drive.
Entering the bubble, and yeah. By the way, it's not a bubble. It's more like a sieve, right? That's what we're seeing here. Is that things can move in and out of it. It's just that they're trying to keep those.
No, yeah, I said the other day, the bubble sounds great if everyone comes in clean, but if they don't, it's like a real word jacuzzi. Like it's just you don't know what's been in there. It's hot and messy and like fluid based.
Ew, man. Yeah, like somebody's been in there with an open wound, like that kind of thing.
Like Puck has been in there.
No, that's not.
Damn, dog.
Inappropriate.
Did you say Puck?
I said Puck.
Did you pick an MTV? What was he on? Real World?
Real San Francisco. He always drank drinks that were blue because they looked like Windex.
Man, I just had this conversation with Jared not more than a week ago. Like, hey, maybe we should like stop with the old references and like update some of the stuff we talk about on the show. Go ahead, Nick.
I actually have a Puck story. He came to my college when I was a student at Bowling Green.
I hope you didn't touch him.
I didn't touch him, but I got to see him, quote unquote, speak. And so, yeah, that was pretty cool. I got to see Puck. I mean, how many people can say that?
Wait, hold on. He got paid to come to Bowling Green to say random ass puck things. That's what happened.
Yeah, it was him and 3 other real worlders. One of the girls from Seattle, I can't remember, the Asian girl from Seattle. Do you remember her, Jared? I know you remember her.
I think
Janet?
Seattle was the last. I think Seattle was the last season I
definitely
watched.
watched Seattle.
There was two buddies from Boston that were I did not like. They were from a military school.
I remember the Boston one too. I watched the Boston one too. Yeah,
But,
there was
yeah.
some wild stuff going on in that house.
Puck was pretty crazy that night, though. But that was a good shout, Jared. I
Probably
appreciate
where
it.
I ended it. Yeah, I can't believe it. Puck. Jeez, wasn't that the second version? Wasn't it New York then San Francisco?
No, New York, LA, then San Francisco.
Yeah. I remember LA too with the country guy and okay.
Oh yeah, that was right. That was true.
Just
Man, that's
going-
one thing. I actually have friends that still watch Real World Road Rules Challenge, or the Challenge as it's called now. Like, I don't understand I don't understand who's still watching that show. Who's still watching MTV? MTV doesn't even have any good shows.
I don't know. That's a discussion for a different day. Like where MTV is right now. I mean, we've all graduated. Now we watch like TLC and Discovery. You're watching like people dig for treasure that's not actually
No,
there.
you don't know my new obsession.
No, you told me your new obsession. It's
What is
Alone,
it?
right?
That's what?
Alone isn't Alone.
Since then,
No, there's a new.
I've already watched 2 full seasons of another show
Oh my
since I told you about Alone.
And is this a reality-based program?
Oh yes, I
Okay.
don't know sure how much of it is reality, but it's reality based.
It's augmented reality, is what it's
On Netflix, I watched the first season because they only had 1 season of it, and then I've since found that Hulu has all the other 8 seasons.
Okay.
Married at First Sight.
Okay. No. What? No. This is like you're
Yes.
like you sound like
Yes.
tells me to watch 90 Day Fiance. Like, what am I? Why am I?
I
doing
crap
something?
on people who watch The Bachelor, but I'll watch this. I have no dignity.
I feel like The Bachelor is classier than whatever you're talking about. Married at First Sight.
It's about love. People are trying to find love. Bachelor's trying to find they're trying to find their 5 minutes of fame.
Well, that's true, but that's everybody on a reality show. Come on, there's nobody.
Oh,
who's-
I feel that way sometimes when I'm watching this.
Okay, now that I have to process this information,
I'm gonna tell you right now. For those of you guys out there that are struggling, maybe with intimacy with your loved one or spouse, watch Married at First Sight because it appeals to the best of your love in your relationship. You're gonna get laid.
wait. So what you're saying is that you watch it and you're like, oh my god, these people are having so much trouble because
It makes you feel so good about your relationship.
You're like we can actually talk to each other like human beings.
Oh, it's
We're good to
constantly like,
go.
oh man, I've never done that to you.
That's no.
It's such bottom feeder.
Donuts,
bottom
and fangirls in the locker room.
You don't mean like I've never done
Oh
that.
no,
No, you
not
mean
like
like
hot
that.
dog and donuts. No, I mean never
No.
done that. Like I've never said something effed up to you like that.
Oh, yeah. When you haven't and you haven't worked out where like your care for one another is. Yeah, I'm sure that's like
Speaking of communication issues,
Yeah.
Can we take the mask off Thierry Henry when he's doing a soundbite?
no, apparently not. And John Garber did his interview at halftime with the mask. I think it's messaging. I think it's basically like, hey guys, look, masks are important. Wear them. I
You
understand.
know what else is important in messaging? Audio.
Well, okay. This the sound that Taylor Twellman play. First of all, I don't know about I don't want to get into the intricacies of TV production, but I don't know about the move of playing a clip for Justin Morrow, who's not in the room with Taylor Twellman, from Thierry Henry, who's wearing a mask and speaking in accented English. He speaks great English, but he does.
Here's the thing with Thierry Henry. I still rely on lips a bit.
Okay, well, that's a different thing for you. I don't even know. I don't want to know where that. Is that okay?
But put subtitles on there. Maybe he'll be insulted, but come on, I need it. I had no idea what he said. To this day, I don't know what he said.
Well, I will go back and watch it. Look, I think this is about messaging. The whole thing is weird. The whole thing is strange. This first game, which is still 1-1, looks like it's going to. Well, I was going to say it looks like it's going to end 1-1, but there's 10 minutes of added time.
No.
Because
Why?
of Andreas going down because of the stretcher and.
Oh,
and
okay. I thought you meant. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like extra, like overtime or something
You
like
thought
that.
we were
I'm
going
sorry.
to break the tie? No,
Listen, we do it in All-Star games, Jason.
we do it in All-Star.
I
games.
thought there was some weird loophole I hadn't paid attention to where there has to be, and there's a trophy presentation after every round of a trophy tournament.
Yeah. Do you think that John Champion being on the call for these games makes it feel more important and more real and better? Like if this was somebody, I'm not going to call it any other names, but if this wasn't John Champion, how would we feel about
Honestly, I didn't even think about it because he's just ESPN's announcer. Like 50% of the time, it's going to be him or it's going to be Ian Dark or No, not Ian Dark. What was the other gentleman?
Adrian Healy.
Adrian Healy. Yeah. So I don't know. I just associated with ESPN broadcast at this point. I didn't really think about it, but if I try to contextualize it, it definitely feels better than hearing. What we got, Nikki?
I'm behind on my stream. Nick, you've ruined the goal for me.
You wanted him. Nick can't win.
I'm just kidding with you. Just tell. All right, give us the update. I don't have a stinger for you.
97th minute.
97th minute.
Ball played into the box. Missed hit. Missed clearance by Inter Miami. Orlando pounces on it. It's now 2-1. We have about 3 more minutes of stoppage time down in Orlando.
Who got the goal?
Nani,
watch out.
His first MLS is back goal.
ESPN's loving that. The guy that's on all the posters for this game actually scoring. That's pretty good.
Look, leave it to Inter Miami to make Orlando City look good.
That was an unfortunate bounce off the Miami player. He didn't even see the ball. Hits off his shin right into the path of Nani, who couldn't not miss it.
Well, I mean, obviously, Inter Miami's already lost a central defender unexpectedly and had to shift. And they were playing 3 at the back, but the wing backs, Jared, weren't really actually playing as wing backs. They were basically playing at 5 at the back, and they have 2.
Well, it was impossible for them to do anything else because Will Trapp and Will Trapp and Ulloa just couldn't do anything to move the ball forward. They were constantly being just.
They're being harassed, obviously, by Orlando, who did a good job of.
Well, they just don't have the pieces around them to do anything. You figure they have no number 9, they have number 10. Their star wingers on the bench.
Yeah.
Not starting the game. You were asking way too much of this team. The fact that they got 1, I think, is actually pretty decent.
Nicky,
I want to add something here too. This happened probably earlier on, probably later in the later stages of the match. Pizarro was taken down twice in the box. No penalty shouts, no VAR reviews. One of them, I could see why he didn't give it, but there was one that was definitely questionable about a foul in the box. And if I'm Miami right now, I'm feeling a little hard done by.
Okay, we're going to see how Diego Alonso feels after this game. And again, comes out in the first game after your long break and your players are tired and fitness is an issue and all of these things. And these guys look like they were playing in mud in the first half, Jerry.
Yeah, by the way, speaking of Diego Alonso, won the fashion war over Oscar Pereira on this one.
Oh, over Oscar Pereira. Okay.
Oscar Pereira showed up in trainers.
You got to coordinate.
I thought you said trainers were allowed.
Yeah, they are allowed, but you're going to get blown out of the water if some of the other dudes are showing up in a nice button-up shirt with like rolled cuffs, slacks.
Look,
he's at ChessCon 2 with this button situation.
I would ChessCon 2.
Go to DEF CON 2.
I will say that they are living up to the reputations of the markets from which they come from. I mean, obviously, Oscar Pereira's very close to his base in Orlando. Diego Alonso coming up from Miami. I'm just saying, if you're coaching in Miami, you better have the fashion game on point. 100. You can't be slacking with the threads when you're an Inter Miami coach, can you? Right? Especially when you get David Beckham, fashion icon, as one of your owners. You got to live up to that.
Yeah, I mean, and also Inter Miami, I believe tonight was playing without Roman Torres, right?
I no. Well, they definitely don't have Leandro Gonzalez Perez, who they just signed.
So I mean, their defense, they're asking a lot of this whole team. I mean, you're the best they could do is hope that Trapp and Ulloa could just possess the ball until Pizarro could get on the field and change something, which is actually kind of what happened. They finally made something happen once Pizarro got on the field, but I don't see it. I don't see this Miami team being able to compete at any point during this tournament because they can't get the players in during it. You can't make all the transitions. At most, they might be able to compete defensively once you get, like you said, Torres and Gonzalez in there, and you have a decent holding midfielders in Ulloa and Trapp, but they're just not going to give you enough going forward to really threaten long-term in this tournament.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Morgan, it did a little bit, but not a lot.
Serving the ball well, though. I'll give him that. Yeah. He's serving the ball from set pieces pretty well.
And Matias Pellegrini, who wasn't supposed to start, Rodolfo Pizarro was going to start in that position, and maybe Pizarro's more dynamic and is moving across the field and picking up the ball in different places and showing danger and forcing Orlando to respond, whereas in this case, Pellegrini, who's a nice young player, and they spent a good amount of money for him, but he's 20, and he's not quite there yet.
You got to have more pieces around to really evaluate him. Tonight, I just didn't think I didn't find him to do anything special, but who is he going to combine with to do something? Agudelo, he needed 2 3-foot sitters to score 1.
Yeah. It looks like this game's coming to an end as soon as it goes final. I believe Nick is giving the heads up that this is a final now. Orlando 2-1 winners in MLS is back over Inter Miami. So go Lions, I guess. I mean, the first winners in the tournament.
Home team.
Give us a call at 717-727-BEST for your thoughts, not just on that. Not just on Orlando. You could be serious if you want. They want to break down the game, sure. Talk about the back five.
I just want to know how people feel. I want to know how they felt watching MLS again. That's more than anything I want to know. How do you gauge the temperature of what you saw?
You know what it is? It's like smiling really big but sweating a lot at the same time. That's kind of where I am with my emotions on this tournament. Like, yay, soccer's back, but also I'm just dripping because I'm so nervous about the whole thing. And
I got the kind of anxiety of like when your girl says she wants to go again. You're just like, man, I should be stoked, but this is making me nervous.
You're just can I recover? Can I recover? Can I recover?
Yeah, seems like there's something dangerous about what's about to happen.
717-727-2378. Also, we have to do this. We have to talk about. I'm going to call him Wonder Man for the moment, Jared.
It's getting that point, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know how. I don't have a Wonder Man drop to play for him, but Christian Pulisic is bossing the Premier League right now for Chelsea.
And it's funny because I at times I wonder, like, are we in a American bubble where, let's face it, most of the people we follow on Twitter, most of the people you engage with socially and social media are American-based soccer fans. So at times I get like, am I too drenched in yes men to really, is it as good as what I'm seeing? And I'll have to go search out the average Premier League fan, the average Premier League pundit, and see what are they saying, not to get validation from a person of like British descent or anything like that, but just to temperature check my own base that I interact with. And across the board, people are saying that he's the best Premier League player since the restart.
Yeah,
he's definitely on the best team.
Look, I'm not watching every single minute of Premier League soccer that's happened. I don't have a dog in the fight. So for me, it's whatever's on, I'm watching it. If Christian Pulisic's playing, I'm going to watch Chelsea. That doesn't mean I'm a Chelsea fan. I don't know that it's a bridge a little too far maybe, but clearly he's done very, very well, in a team that has some nice pieces, but, inconsistency is kind of a flavor for Chelsea in the attack, whether it's Willian, whether it's Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, Ross Barkley, who we've talked about. It's just it doesn't seem like any of those guys want to kind of take this season by the scruff of the neck and do something with it, but Christian Pulisic is. And what's different, Jared? What's different about him, not just before the pandemic, but just sort of like his development as a player since you've been watching him when he was 17, breaking in at Dortmund.
From the way back then.
Well, I just mean like he obviously had incredible talent then, or he wouldn't have been on the field, right? He wouldn't have gotten an opportunity at Dortmund. He can score goals. We know he can beat guys on the dribble. Like, we know he can do that.
The difference I see between the Dortmund Pulisic and the Pulisic of the last, I'll say 3 weeks, the Dortmund Pulisic was fantastic at knowing the Dortmund system and knowing how to play the Dortmund way.
Okay.
Free-flowing movement from the wings, being part of a machine that was going places. And what was so impressive about Pulisic is that he was able to fall into that machine so well. And Dortmund is a machine. They just find talent and make it play the style that they play, and then they sell it on. And in with the new, out with the next. Pulisic's out, Reyna's in, and they're going to do it with the next group of youngsters as well. They're fantastic at that. So there was a lot of trepidation for me going to a place that just gobbles up talent and regurgitates talent, spits it out the other end in the Premier League. If you don't make it in the first couple of months, sometimes you just never recover as a career. Look at Josie Altidore at Hull. I never produced there.
You're not going to compare.
No, but here's the thing. Yeah, I am going to for this reason. In the Eredivisie, he was a beast. Tons of confidence he comes in with. He makes the jump to Hull City, and that's what I was worried about with Pulisic, is that the confidence that takes a hit when the first couple of games don't go your way, whether or not you can recover. And that's what's been most impressive. And during the part when he's back right now, he's playing for himself. He's not even playing. Chelsea, I don't think has a style right now, to be honest with you. They have so many young players and they're really trying to figure everything out. He's taking over games. Every time he gets the ball, it is eyes on the goal. eyes upfield every time. It is amazing the confidence that he's playing with. And honestly, this is the first American appointment television that I've had since Clint Dempsey.
You mean a single player at a club you don't actually
I am
care?
looking at my schedule of what I have going on in my life to see if I can make Chelsea games. I haven't said that about any player or any team that any Americans playing on in years.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh crap, Pulisic's playing. I got to go watch this. And again, even if you're not,
I get FOMO if I forgot.
yeah, I'm with you on that. And if you miss a goal, you're like, oh damn it, I missed the goal. You got to go back and find it. I think that's certainly true. He is the same player in terms of his basic skill set, but as you said, it's a confidence level. It's a willingness to make that decisive moment work for him, whether it's the pass. And I do think he's been less likely to give the ball up in this recent run, more likely to find a shot.
Who's he going to give it to?
Well, that's part of it. I was reading a column recently where the author was talking about how there was a moment when Tammy Abraham wanted the ball and Pulisic didn't give it up. He took a shot. It went over the bar. He missed the shot. It was a decent shooting opportunity, but he didn't convert it. And Abraham was mad at him. And this guy was writing that, the reason that Christian Pulisic isn't Eden Hazard is because nobody got upset when Eden Hazard didn't pass to them. First of all, because Eden Hazard always passed. That was kind of his role. And second of all, because he was the only player in that team and he was so far above everybody else, there really was no reason. It was like Zlatan. You don't really yell at Zlatan.
Just look at this last game. The dude did an NBA Jam heat check. That left-footed move to that near post shot, that's a heat check. Yeah. I'm playing out of my mind the last 3 weeks, and I want to see if this is still hot.
Do you know who was not impressed by that goal? Do you know who? The gentleman who does this show with us, our producer, Nicky Soup and Sausage. He was not impressed, Jared.
Because he doesn't play for Manchester United.
I mean, look, I saw everybody reacting to it on different Slacks, and I watched the replay and thought, oh, that's it? I mean, it was a great hit. Don't get me wrong. I just was expecting more based on everybody's reaction. I was thinking it was going to be a top bin curler from outside the box.
It wasn't the goal from who scored the absolute howitzer. Was that?
It was on the other side.
Zaha. Zaha scored.
That was the keeper, but yeah.
Well, fine, but that he hit that about as hard as you could hit a soccer ball. And there was an overhead kick, I think that yesterday as well.
Oh, Danny Welbeck, Watford.
Danny Welbeck for Watford, yeah. I didn't even know Danny Welbeck was at Watford. Learned something yesterday. Danny Welbeck for Watford. Those are better goals. Those are more highlight-worthy goals. But again, in the context of who Christian Pulisic is right now, in the context of what Chelsea is trying to do, which is win a Champions League spot and be sure of it for next year, in the context of the fact that he is an American, and not in this he grew up in Holland and he learned most of his soccer in Germany and his parents just happened to live here for a couple of weeks and he was born in the United. No, that dude's American. I know he went.
Hershey, PA.
Yeah, I know he got hooked up with a chance to go to Barcelona when he was 12 or whatever for a little while. And I know he lived in England for a brief period.
You know who gets those opportunities? Class players.
Well, class players, but also coaches' kids. I mean, the dude benefits from that. Okay. And so does Giovanni Reina benefit.
I know the point you're trying to make. The difference with Christian Pulisic right now and all those other teams, all the other players, this is a young American taking a perennial top 4 team on his back and carrying him into Europe next year, potentially. Yeah. That's saying something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I did not think he was going to be at the end of the season because, I wasn't that big of a fan of him going to Chelsea because I was worried that he was going to fall off and get loaned out. Like the things we see at so many other, look at Timothy Weah at PSG, like these players that go to big clubs and then it's okay, they're on loan within 2 months.
Yeah.
To see him break that mold has been impressive to me.
Yeah, I will say before we get to our next caller who might try to rain on this parade, I don't know. I will say that one thing is I don't know if I should be mad at Frank Lampard a little bit. And I get it. He can't go into a press conference or comments after the game in the socially distanced environment we live in and say things like Christian Pulisic is one of the best players or going to be one of the best players in the world. And we're so happy. We're so happy to have.
Anyway, though.
What'd you say?
I don't know if that's him anyway.
No, that's not Frank Lampard. By the way, that's the guy who I was talking about with the hair. Frank is hanging on it's not long.
It's getting thin.
It's a little thin there. All right, let's go to Eddie in Brooklyn, who may be biased in his choice for the topic he wants to talk about, best player in CONCACAF. Eddie, what's up, man?
Damn, why I gotta be so negative all of a sudden? I didn't even say anything. It's like already I'm raining on parades and believe. Damn.
Nah, man, come look. But I know, like, I know where you
He might say Christian Pulisic.
No, he's not gonna say Christian Pulisic. Are you gonna say Christian Pulisic?
No, I mean, look, like John Arnold and props to John Arnold, who's like King CONCACAF in terms of covering between Mexico and almost all the countries in Central America, and there's people like in between that have like little niches. Like I'm Costa Rica, but he seems to be like CONCACAF guy. So he put together a really good article where he picked essentially 4 people to defend Pulisic, Alphonso Davies, Raul Jimenez, and of course Keylor Navas as to who's the best player in CONCACAF. And I just wanted to say that, obviously I had to defend Navas in the argument, and I wanted to preface anything that I said with, I think that Christian's been great lately. I've really been impressed with Alphonso Davies, and Raul Jimenez has really been warranting a lot of the talk that he's been getting. And all 3 guys are great. But if you guys go out and read that piece, the reason why I defended Navas was mainly because it was a body of work. It was 7 years worth of work. And I think if you need to be the best, you have to compete at a certain level in both club and international level. And that's why I wrote the way that I wrote about Keylor Navas. And I mean, I went full like DNX from the 90s, and I completely ripped that argument apart. People left me alone because, we recognize real. But that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate what all these other guys in the region are doing. I think that the level of CONCACAF is really rising rapidly. And guys like Christian, guys like Alphonso Davies, and guys like Raul Jimenez are really helping to push that narrative along. And it's not just guys like Keylor who were doing it in World Cups and Champions League finals. Like, the region is rising. But I ultimately said what I said about Keylor because it was about consistency. It wasn't like a midlife crisis where you want the pretty young thing that's pretty cool for like a month or two, that you want something that's been long-term. And that's what Keylor Navas is to the region. That's why I said what I said about Keylor.
I don't know. I have a hard time thinking a keeper can take that. How can a keeper take that title, though? It's impossible to compare. That's the hardest thing about when you make that choice, Eddie, is that when you pick a keeper, you're picking a guy that you can't compare to anyone else but a keeper. Is he playing for for 2 of the biggest teams in the world over his last 2 club career? Yes, absolutely. He also lost his job at Real Madrid. You can make that case as well. This isn't Keylor Navas 4 years ago. It's Keylor Navas starting over at Paris Saint-Germain. But I don't know. For me, if I'm going to pick it, it's Alphonso Davies. He's the best player in CONCACAF right now.
So again, this is what Eddie is saying, right? It's
player, not a guy that stands in a goal all game.
Well, you're going to dump on keepers. Okay, that's a different conversation. But what I think, obviously, what Eddie is saying, look, you have to contextualize the conversation. Are you saying that the best player right now in this moment? I mean, that's probably Alphonso Davies with Christian Pulisic on his heels.
Keylor Navas is the highest profile player in CONCACAF. Well, I'm not sure he's the best.
No, but Eddie's got a point about his longevity as one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Every keeper's going to have longevity.
No, but his standard of play has been very high for a long time. Forget about how long
he's been for 5 years. I mean, it's not like it's like a huge long career.
Alphonso Davies has been in Germany starter for a season, not even a full season. Christian Pulisic just made his move to Chelsea. Obviously, he had a good run at Dortmund, but he wasn't even a starter at the end of his run at Dortmund. And who's a CONCACAF player of the last decade? It's Keylor Navas, no doubt about it. All right,
the best player in CONCACAF right now for me is Davies. I don't know. When I watch him play,
and this is. I was just going to say, and this goes back to the argument, right? You can give Derrick Rose and you can give James Harden all the MVPs you want. Everybody knows the best player in basketball is LeBron James. You can give your best player at the moment right now to any one of these other guys. Everybody knows the best player right now in CONCACAF is Keylor Navas, because it's a body of work. It's not just what you did 3 weeks ago. It's not what you did 3 years ago. It's what you've done for a sustained period of time and what you're still doing. Pulisic is not going to play in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Keylor Navas will.
Well,
neither Pulisic is going to win a league title. Keylor Navas did this year.
I think to use your analogy, I think you're talking about the best player in the NBA and you're choosing Shaq. Shaq was never the best athlete or like the most impressive player in the NBA. He was the most unique player.
The most unstoppable player. Right?
You could make the argument that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, all these other players at the same time as Shaq were better athletes and better basketball players in the way you could traditionally think of basketball players. It's hard to pick a center that does what Shaq was doing to be the best player in the NBA, but you could make the argument, and you're making the argument for Navas, and I see the way in on that. It's just not the way I see the argument.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so I kind of already laid this out for me, and I'm with you on Davies for the most part, Jared, but I understand the argument on Navas, and to Eddie's point, it's cool that we have from CONCACAF 4 players who are doing what Jimenez and Pulisic and Davies and Navas are doing right now. That's cool. I mean, again,
one of them's going to be sitting home for a World Cup probably.
Well, these national teams need to do something with the talent that they have. I mean, obviously the United States has got to climb back into the World Cup, but Costa Rica up against the limits of what Costa Rica can be. They've had good runs in the World Cup. You know this, Eddie, but there's kind of this idea of what's the ceiling for Costa Rica, just the ceiling for the United States too. I'm not saying we have I
will say that Keylor Navas has the ability to take his team farther than a World Cup than Pulisic or Davies do
because of his position.
Keep it.
Hold on. Yes. The answer is yes, because Keylor Navas only conceded 2 goals in 2014, and only one of them was a penalty in the first game of that World Cup, and he only conceded 1 other goal the entire World Cup, and it was in the 90th plus minute against Greece in the round of 16. So the answer to that is yes. My answer to the Alphonso Davies question is do it in a World Cup, qualify for one. Then you could be in the same sentence. Then you could be in the same conversation.
Canada's got to figure out their whole thing. I mean, I don't know how much I want to penalize these guys.
You're saying Ryan Giggs isn't good then because he never did a World Cup. Some countries just aren't going to go.
How are you going to penalize a player for the rest of his team not being that great? I mean, I think that's really tough.
He's going to get in now, 48 teams.
Yeah, well, that's 2026. You got one more cycle to get through. We'll see if Canada can figure it out. If CONCACAF even lets Canada
go. Honduras made a World Cup. It's not that hard to qualify from CONCACAF. Panama made a World Cup. It's not that tough to qualify from CONCACAF.
Somehow you left Costa Rica out of that argument.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
All right, look, Eddie, I have a question for you, though. Okay, we'll put you on the spot. I know you love Keylor Navas and you believe he's the best player in CONCACAF. I respect all of that opinion. But if you had your choice, would you rather have an outfield player, maybe not even clearly the best player in CONCACAF, but somewhere in that conversation? Would you prefer to be an outfield player from Costa Rica?
How many years am I building this team? How many years do I have a job?
You need so many qualifiers.
Oh, no, that's an important qualifier because I'm a 32-year-old goalkeeper.
Eddie, as a fan, would you rather be arguing about an outfield player from Costa Rica right now than a goalkeeper? As a fan.
Look, like I said in the first sentence I wrote in that argument, goalkeepers are people too, okay? Like everybody wants to be the guy that scores a goal every 184 minutes. They're people too. There are a lot of qualifiers. There needs to be a conversation. If you're asking me right now, and that was the point of the argument, who is the best player right now? Right now, the answer is Keylor Navas. If you ask me, who am I going to build around, I'm not going to pick Navas because he's in his 30s. So obviously, I'm going to pick one of these other 3 guys. And those are 2 completely different conversations. But don't reframe the question to negate my point because that's not what I'm trying to do.
I'm trying to negate your point.
2 completely different questions.
Eddie, I'm not trying to negate your point. I'm asking you.
If your team was an NFL team, your best player is your kicker.
Damn.
Hey, you can say what you want.
Your kicker scores 10 field goals a game, though. It's pretty impressive.
Raul Jimenez got none. Navy's got none.
All right. Eddie, man, I appreciate the phone call.
Love you, right, Eddie?
Thank you, man. Love it when you call in. That goes Eddie. Eddie from
Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
Can't believe you did that to him.
That drop now?
I can't believe you did that to him. That was so cruel. Cruel and unusual.
The Keylor Navas is super impressive, man. Like I would take him over. I would take him over any other keeper, maybe in the world potentially.
He got done dirty at Real Madrid. You know that there was no reason for them to replace him. That didn't make any sense other than at Real Madrid.
Wholesale moves, and he was one of the guys that took the fall. It's unfortunate, but for me, to your point you were making, I want the sexy.
Yeah.
And I'd rather Antonio Davies is the sexy. You know, like it's impressive. Pulisic is the sexy, and who knows? I really want to see one more move for Davies if he stays at Bayern or if he makes a move to somewhere bigger.
Wait,
Pulisic
somewhere bigger than Bayern? That's come on. How many clubs are there?
Come on.
What?
It's the Bundesliga. Come on, dude. Like the there's bigger teams than Bayern Munich is always perennial in it. Biggest team in Germany.
Yeah.
But Germany is not the sexy. Germany's not the sexy.
Okay, Germany. I think you're wrong about that, but you're allowed to have your personal preferences, right? Like I'm not telling you what to like. I'm just saying Bayern Munich is one of the top 5 clubs in the world. Period. End of
More
story.
pressure on players at Bayern or Barcelona.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's a couple of clubs that are maybe a little bit bigger than Bayern, but Bayern is
more pressure at Manchester United than there is Bayern Munich.
No, there's not.
You don't think so?
True.
You don't think there's more pressure in that team, that fan base, than Bayern Munich?
Well, I definitely think that a move to Manchester United from Bayern Munich is a step down right now.
You don't think it's easier to make Europe in Germany than it is England?
Yeah, it's easier for Bayern Munich to do it. Absolutely.
I'm saying go to a place that's big with pressure. Bayern Munich doesn't have pressure. They might finish second sometimes.
I see what you're saying. They spend more than anybody else in Germany. That gives them a massive advantage. But they consider
Philipp Lahm, who played the same position as Davies, wasn't amazing and one of the best left backs in the world. He was at Bayern. I just want to see Davies play someplace else in a system that might be a little more flashy and more free flowing.
Well, but oh my God, are you okay?
He's free flowing. I don't think Bayern is.
Oh my God, I just don't understand what
you think. Okay,
I mean, it's Robert Lewandowski just hammering in goals with he the best goal scorer on the planet. Robert Lewandowski.
Are you kidding me? With Hazard in front of him,
man. Okay, I don't. You want to see Charlie? You want to see Alphonso Davies get out of his comfort zone to try something?
Be a Galactico somewhere where he's one of the best left backs in the world, and he plays in a team that can utilize him to his fullest.
Okay, I suppose.
I don't know, but I think it could be someplace else.
Okay, I feel like you're being hard on Bayern Munich, and again, I think it's a fun conversation. So I appreciate Eddie calling in. I got a couple minutes left. 717-727-2378. If you want to get in here and talk about Christian Pulisic, which is what that was supposed to be all about, ended up being about Keylor Navas somehow. How do we get our show less hijacked from us to talk about Tico?
It's not. I'm not mad at it. It's our region, all the good ones of which are now in MLS for some reason. So there must be something to the Kool-Aid here.
Okay, Raul Jimenez is the best one, and he's not in MLS. He's in the Premier League right now, doing it with Wolves. So give them credit for that. By the way, would you ding Raul Jimenez in that conversation because he plays for Wolves, who's having a great run right now, who maybe is, they may have a shot at big time European action. They're in the Europa League now. They may be a Champions League team at some point in the near future, but they're not traditionally a big club.
What's your question to me?
Do you ding Raul Jimenez in the discussion because he's not playing?
I think that for Mexican players especially, for some reason, CONCACAF, and in particular in Mexico, it seems for some reason they have to have stepping stones to get to the big teams. And I don't know why that is. Outside of Chicharito, who really kind of accelerated that, most of them have to step stone for some reason. Guardado had to go through Holland. There's these players who have to do these types of things. And I think MLS right now is just one of those stepping stones that they use to get through.
Americans, you're saying that Mexicans are like Americans then, because Americans tend to do that too, for the most
part.
Yeah,
I would agree. But for sure.
Okay.
And I mean, you could say the Dos Santos brothers and Hugo are probably the ones that most from Mexico didn't have to go through that. And I think that's what I'm saying is I think that's what he's doing at Wolves right now is the stepping stone before going to the big club.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Raul Jimenez, I believe, is 28 at this point. The window on the big move is closing. 29. He just turned 29 in May, so the window on the big move is closing for Raul Jimenez. Whereas
here's the thing: if he's the difference maker in Wolves, Wolves can't afford to keep him. It's kind of like Leicester City when Leicester City won. They only kept Vardy. That was pretty much the only player they kept.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford to keep him, even though they got the big money. Mm-hmm. They still couldn't afford to not sell the guys to ensure long-term success.
They kept Jamie Vardy because he's a dick and nobody wanted him. I think that's what.
That's why they kept him. You know that, and he was the highest profile player and English, which helps.
No, I know, but he is a dick. That's 100% true.
Yeah. But so that's what I'm saying is that it's a smart because if there's to be a bunch of teams with money to spend, and if he's the reason why a lower tier club overachieved this year, they're going to sell him. They're going to sell him to get money in the pocket.
Okay,
You
first of all,
can't guarantee that Wolves will do this again next year.
he has to agree to that. So it has to be a
Agreed.
club he wants to go to. So he has to agree to that. But also, again, what I said is true that Wolves is a club on the rise. They may be a Leicester where they have a really good season or two and then they drop back down and kind of have to get, fight again to get back up again. I don't know. But they are definitely a club that if you stay there right now, you have a potential to make something at Wolves. And maybe that's what Jimenez wants. He's certainly comfortable there.
It could be the Charlton Athletic of was it 2001, 2002, somewhere in that range right there, where they had a great season and then fell two leagues down. There's these teams that sometimes overachieve, and I think the pattern has been to sell after you overachieve. Maybe that's the problem. Is maybe they shouldn't do that.
Lots of smaller clubs do that for sure. By the way, you mentioned going down a couple leagues. I can't bring myself to watch the latest season of Sunderland Till I Die because it's just so depressing.
I only watched the first episode.
You only watched the first episode?
Yeah, I only watched the first episode. Since quarantine happened, I don't get independent viewing much. It's because I record a podcast one night a week, and I play poker another night a week. I pretty much all my other nights are couple viewing, which is probably why I'm watching Married at First Sight.
I might have
guilty pleasure solo viewings right now.
I haven't had. I got through Little Dicky. I think I've been watching Sherlock as my wife falls asleep, and I watch Sherlock for a little while. But those are 90-minute long episodes. Every single episode of Sherlock is a movie, so that's a lot of a commitment.
Hey man, sneak in a little Married at First Sight. Let's see what happens.
We'll see. I don't know. I can't do trashy reality shows.
You could. You just don't give yourself a chance. Let me ask you a question. Would your lady like it?
I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. I don't think so. No, she watches
novellas and stuff.
She does watch telenovelas. She watches a lot of that.
Trashy stuff.
It is kind of trash. Not all of it's trashy, but some of it's kind of trashy.
Okay, right. Maybe she gets her romance from there.
What are you saying? Are you taking shots?
No, I'm saying my lady. How romantic my lady is directly related to what kind of television she's watching.
You're saying that her engine gets revved by that kind of television.
I'm telling you, I can't seem to do it anymore. So I need to I need to call in the sixth man.
She goes. My wife looks at me tonight. And she goes.
Sometimes I go in the bedroom, I look down the hallway, and I look at the TV, and I tap my left arm, bring in the lefty.
She's watching a Spanish telenovela basically, and there's a kiss in it, and she's like, "Why don't you kiss me like that anymore?" I'm like, "Ooh. I try. You're never interested."
Say that too loud, dude.
All right, what else we got before we wrap this thing up? Before we put a nice bow on the MLS is back episode.
Oh man, I'm not sure, man. I would love to talk more Pulisic. I just don't know how much is left in that tank. I'm excited to see. What I really want to see, man. I can't wait till some of these other leagues come back. I want to see Serginho Dest playing. I can't wait till these next couple MLS games start up and we see some of those Americans playing that we've been wanting to get updates on. I'm interested to see what a Vela-less LAFC team looks like because that's official now. He's not coming out. He did not come out with LAFC. There's a few things out there. I'm really excited to see Kansas City play because I think they're hot going into the break.
I picked them for some stuff, a pool I'm involved in, which involves money, which is a big move for me. I know people are taking bets, placing bets. I think we were asked to do some prop bet stuff for MLS's back. We're not going to have time to do that. Maybe we'll do that in the bonus show. We'll throw that into the bonus show.
I got a prop bet. How many of those ball pedestals are going to get knocked over the course of this tournament?
Well, here's the problem. You got to have cameras on all of them. What'd you say?
Are they breakaway?
Yeah, that's a good question. You can't.
Some dudes need to go flying into a pylon.
They have to get knocked. They have to go down because you can't have players running into them, right? Yeah.
That would be the only thing going down when you get all those players together.
Okay. No, you don't.
Danger zone!
Okay. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you to everybody who called. Make sure you're
all in the bubble. No one's going to have a temperature. The temperature's going to be down.
Go iTunes ratings and reviews. Make sure you're checking us out on social media and all of that. patreon.com/JD and the Rod. That is a very active little community.
Crazy.
What is it?
Slack has been going crazy.
It's been popping off. Again, the betting discussions are happening. People are getting engaged and discussing their wedding plans.
Stock tips off the Slack.
Stock tips are happening all over the place. Nikki Soup and Sausage is bad-mouthing Christian Pulisic all over the place in that Slack. It's a wild time. Make sure you're doing that at patreon.com/JD and the Rod. If you join up, you get a little taste of some things happening in the future. You get a little teaser here and there.
You got a little behind the scenes.
They did. By the way, I didn't ask you how you felt about that.
I didn't listen back to it. Why, was there something I said I shouldn't have?
No. But it was a little pre-show and post-show. I mixed a little both of those in there. So,
what were we talking pre-show? Oh my God, what did I say?
If you want some unfiltered JD, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You didn't do anything weird. All right, that's going to do it. All right, for Nikki Soup and Sausage, for Jay Rodius, thank you very much for listening, guys, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Danger zone!
Duh and or hello. I wouldn't be caught dead in a sweater vest.
It's incredible! Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 45 minutes. You got to coordinate. Eddie, what have you done for me, Eddie? Get to the chopper!
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
But unfortunately, this is Los Angeles. I need more than talent. I need stars. Enjoy.
I don't like this game. Your men are brutish and their play is ugly.
Jay Rodius.